Hey, what's going on, fam? We're back. The garage studio is open. Back with another episode of Left, Right, Left podcast. Your handsome host, Marc R. Chabot, United States Marine Corps, retired. Hey, man, it's been going just fantastic. It's Friday night. I'm very excited to be here. First off, let's cover a couple quick housekeeping notes. One, all the new subscribers, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Also, my partner out there, the Amphibious Tractor Memorial. I'm pleased to announce that donations are up 23%, but we can't get complacent and we can't get comfortable. We still got some work to do, and it's my honor and my privilege to serve as a junior member on the association. So please hit that subscribe, please hit that like, comment. Everybody that jumps on board will result in more funds that YouTube will pay me, and I'm going to pour that money back in the memorial, and I'll match it, and we're going to get after it, and we're going to close that mission. Obviously, the audience, you guys loved him, so he made the trip back up from Fredericksburg. Welcome back, my brother, Tim Brown.
What's going on, Mark? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for coming up, brother.
Hey, thanks for the invite, man.
God,
it's always
man.
a good time, man.
It is always a good time when Charlie Company, 1st Recruit Training Battalion, Tim Hannes Brown is in the house.
That's me.
Yep, that's you.
Upon retiring, I got hired by a Fortune 5 company. I'm a senior project manager. It's a healthcare company. And not too long ago, I actually took part of this veteran initiative that will help veterans out there to better serve them, to better take care of them. So they placed me on there, one, because I'm a top performer, at least from what my supervisor said, but most importantly, because I'm a veteran, so I'm super excited.
And with the moving business, I posted a short about you doubling your military income in 2020 from COVID, and that was one of my highest performance shorts at over 1,000 views. So obviously the Marines and the veterans out there in the military community loved it.
Good. And I have something that's going to be coming up next year, another chapter. So unfortunately, this year will be next year will be my last year doing the moving company.
Hey, man, we continue to ascend. We continue trying to grow, and just, level up, man. And, hopefully you'll find another, thing to apply your entrepreneurial skills in, and you'll just continue doing what you do. Yes, Tim and I are both Marine Corps veterans, but what we're going to talk about can be applied in anything that you're doing in life. It's about taking care of people. So no matter what business you're in or what field you're in, I think that what we're going to talk about is applicable. So I'm just going to be very candid about it. When I attended your retirement, it was my honor to, Chief Warrant Officer 3, 22 years in the Marine Corps, I'm going to be there for my brother. But when I walked in the Marine Corps Museum, you were placing chairs out yourself and placing pamphlets on chairs. And to me, that was kind of a little bit of a yellow flag. Retired, Sergeant Major, I'm scratching my head a little bit. Why is a Chief Warrant Officer setting up his own stuff?
What I thought I did right was taking care of the unit while at the same time taking care of myself. I did all of that stuff, but I still didn't receive, I guess the good graces that you would normally have with the retirement. But what I would say is, if you're out there, and this is mainly pertaining to those, the senior leadership, because for you individuals, you're probably more than likely going to get taken care of as you transition out. So just keep in mind that for guys like myself and Mark, we've been through the process. And when you have a command that fully supports you and backs you up while you're taking care of your transitioning, and transitioning just doesn't mean, it just doesn't mean just getting a job. It also means taking care of your family. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into that. But make sure that the same way you would want to be taken care of, make sure you do the same thing for your Marines, sailors, soldiers.
My departure from the Marine Corps was the dire opposite of yours. I mean, I had support the whole way through, to the point to where, my commanding general and my commanding officer are like, hey, whatever you need, you can take one day off a week if you want to go take care of things you need to take care of. You've invested so much in the Marine Corps, to make sure that we're invested in you. I mean, everything was just lined up perfectly. But I think the most important thing was that they understood that I'm not going to be in the Marine Corps anymore. And it was their way of paying me back, right? Of saying, and again, I'm not to take advantage of it or anything, but it's the point of they were deliberate in their support towards me. right? Like I just knew that it was there. Even if I didn't take it or I didn't use it or I didn't need it, I knew it was there.
And I'll be quite honest with you, Mark. I mean, I was kind of, and I retired right around the Marine Corps birthday. I had some tragic stuff that took place around that time. My mother passed away, and I tell you what, it was really hard because the one thing that I did for 23 years, I almost felt like, we heard the term the green weenie. Like I actually got that, and it wasn't a good feeling. And I was salty about the Marine Corps. I was like, screw the Marine Corps, screw this. But what I would tell you is it took for good friends, good Marines, people like yourself to be like, listen, Tim, it's not the Marine Corps. It's the people in the Marine Corps.
It's about that extending hand of support, right? Like, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I could live without like an extravagant gift, right? Like I don't care about that, right? I could live with, the award being late or whatever. But what wouldn't have been good is like just no support. Like somebody not putting a hand on my shoulder and say, hey, listen, you taking care of your stuff. Like I got you. Like I got your back. Like afford the time to yourself that you need. That is more important, I think, than anything, right? But what is cool though is how when I did say, I told my battalion sergeants majors first when I was retiring, I said, hey, I'm going to do it. And then 2 days later, one of them comes back in, knocks on the door and is like, hey man, what kind of shadow box you want? And I'm like, I don't want a shadow box, right? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like I'd rather, get something, that's less taxing and less dollars and everything, right? But the thought, right?
The thought was there.
The support.
The support was there from the beginning.
The support was there.
Yeah.
2 days later after that, another one of the battalion sergeants majors come in and said, hey boss, I know you got a lot of things to do. You've been in the Marine Corps a long time. So, if you need me to fill in for you doing regimental duties, let me know, man. I got your back. You go do the things you need to do. Once again, win, right?
Yeah.
Like support. I feel for you, Tim, that you didn't have that same, transition out from the uniform side that I did.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that, but hey, you're doing extremely well, which is good. But I think that's kind of like something that we can, share with everybody out there is, hey, listen, like it freaking matters, like Tim's not a robot. He's a human being. Even though he's a Chief Warrant Officer 3, he's a drill instructor. He did all these great things in the Marine Corps. He still has feelings and he needs to be appreciated and shown, a certain level of gratitude for all those years of service, not just act like he's an inconvenience on the unit. Again, I don't care if they do 4 years. I don't care what industry you're in. It's important that you recognize people on their way out for their contributions.
And the only way you guys will understand, because for those folks that are wearing a uniform, you don't really understand yet. Once you're outside of the uniform, and those band of brothers that you normally able to kind of just go right down the hall and talk to them, you don't have them there anymore. You have your family, which is great, but your family, what do they want? Hey, Tim, we want you here. You've been with the Marine Corps. But that, if you're that warrior is always going to be inside you. So that transition is going to be kind of difficult.
Yeah, hands down. It's the whole thing of, keeping faith with each other, and again, I think we underestimate a lot of times, the impact that the Marine Corps or just the military in general can have on a 4-year, service member.
Yeah, however, there's typically some sort of ceremony that takes place. Who attends the ceremony? The family does. The families, they've never seen any of this stuff. They've never seen, you stay in a position of attention, having an award. They've never seen it, so it's pretty cool to them. So a lot of times when we do stuff, I mean, there's plenty of Marines that I've talked to that are like, hey, sir, I don't want to do it. I'm like, you need to do it. You need to do a retirement ceremony, not for you, but for your family.
I remember when they used to do those hometown news releases and stuff.
Yeah.
And like my mom would see those and she'd
that's a throwback. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she'd be so proud to be like, oh, my son got promoted to sergeant in the Marine Corps. I tell you, man, one of the coolest things was when I got promoted to corporal and my BLT commander sent just a little 3 or 4 sentence note to my dad in New Hampshire. He got that letter and he called me, on the back then on the landline. He's like, I got a letter from Lieutenant Colonel Gunther that you got promoted to corporal, and I'm saving this letter and I'm gonna drop my box. It meant a lot, right? It's those little gestures. Yep. So you can always point the finger at the command, right?
Yep.
And say it's their fault, and this or that. But I tell you, man, like as a mid-level leader, you have the latitude and the flexibility to do things like that for your Marines, to make their service feel important, to make their family included in that service.
On my way out, I made sure that they got a reward. You know, I gave a couple Sircoms, and then everybody else got a letter of appreciation. This was me on the way out the door. So those little things that you guys can do that doesn't take a lot of time that can help them out.
Hey, don't ever underestimate, the power of the pen. Don't ever underestimate, your ability to influence. It doesn't just have to come, from the senior leaders within the unit. You guys that are out there at that mid-level, take actions, right? Take actions. Be bold, be brave. Long-term vision, brother. Like, where do you see yourself in like 10 to 15 years? What do you want that to look like?
Next career, I'm actually looking into being a college professor or a teacher. That'll be my last career. I would like to do something regarding organizational leadership, industrial psychology. That's kind of the thing that I've been into when I was working on my graduate degree. That I try to apply a lot of those principles in the Marine Corps. Obviously, it's a whole lot different because it's the military, but that's something I have a passion behind.
You sound like you've been listening to Dr. Ed Drico Drip Parsons on my previous podcast, right? Like that's what he wants to do with his time, and that's good stuff, man. I know you'd be successful at it if you do it.
Yeah.
I would say that, if you had asked me the same thing, what am I going to do 10 to 15 years? Hopefully not a whole lot of anything, right?
I think you're going to have 1 million subscribers for this podcast. I mean, that's what I see. I mean,
brother, hey, we'll see, man. Hey, it's a very slow climb, right? But hey, we're making some progress.
Exactly.
You said it before in the last podcast. If you get a strong why, you're going to put in the effort.
Exactly.
You got to put in the work. And I have a very strong why on why I do this. Additionally, I love just sharing experiences and talking to people. So this is a big win-win.
Well, I got a question for you, Mark. So the people want to know, I want to know, and I know the people want to know, like what typically happens? Like what is a normal week? Because I know that there's time that takes place with these podcasts, trying to find people. Like what do you do to prepare for this?
So let me put us both on here. Okay, first off, I work full time for the United States government still. Okay. I'm a sworn government official. So this is something that I do on the side, right?
Okay.
So numero uno is, dad and husband.
Yep.
Right. Second comes my primary job, which care, feed, pay the bills. Right. Also, it's very relevant work and I do enjoy it a lot. Yep. I put a lot of effort into it. And then this comes kind of number 4 on the priority list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what's a normal day like for me? This is not for the weak at heart. This is a very, very challenging thing to do, particularly now, if you just want to talk shit on camera, no problem. Like that's easy, right?
That's easy. Yeah.
But if you really want to do something that you think is going to be meaningful to people, you want it to be professional, you want it to be an engaging environment where somebody can learn. I like the fact that we just don't give people like the quick hitter, you do these 3 things and you be successful.
Yeah.
When somebody watches, they have to think.
Exactly.
They got to think and apply it within their own lives. That's what I love about doing this podcast. But it's a lot of hours. So normally I post 3 to 4 shorts a week. Those take me, 30 to 40 minutes to do. I have to screen and find guests, right? I don't do anything half-ass. I write a script for everything. You've gotten 2 of my scripts so far. You see that, it's sometimes 2 to 3 pages, worth of probing questions and things to rehearse you on. You got to run ads. You got to keep track of your social media. So it is definitely a lot of work to do. To the point where sometimes, some days I'm like, man, that just, and then what do? You always resort back to the strong why, and then you just keep on charging forward and you keep on going, because once that beautiful amphibious assault memorial is built at Quantico, it's going to be all worth it. And I know that this would be some factor and a player in that. And so, yeah, it's tough, Tim, but this isn't no pity party for me. I freaking volunteered to do this. It's my doing. It's all on me, but it's my passion, and I love doing it.
That's what matters. And you're doing a phenomenal job. And I know the guests out there, they're watching you, and you're going to keep growing. So we're good.
I hope so. It's a race to 1,000 subscribers, and it's a race to 4,000 hours of watch time. So, hey, I need all your help. The Amphibious Memorial needs all of your help.
And I tell you, man, it's a blessing, to be able to do this. So, Tim, it's my honor as always, to call you a friend, to, be one of my dogs from, way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And, to be down in Fredericksburg and us, to keep those communications open. That's another lesson for everybody. Don't forget about your friends when you leave and you get wrapped up in your life. You don't have to maintain contact with each other every day, but you still got to have that connect and file, man. It matters to people.
Yep. Make sure you take care of each other, regardless of what industry you're in, military, non-military. Make sure you take care of each other. And the last thing is to make sure you treat others. But, we talked about transitioning. Make sure you treat them the way that you will want to be treated on the way out the door.
That's an outstanding save round, brother. Just be respectable, be classy, treat people with kindness, treat people the way you want to be treated. All these good lessons in life. Really, dude, a lot of times I think we just overanalyze stuff and we just make life a lot harder. It needs to be like, be a good fucking dude and be a good lady. Right?
Yeah.
Respect people's friggin' property. Right. Don't steal people's shit. Right? Like when you walk by somebody, be nice. Hold the door for people. Pick up somebody's bag.
That's
if somebody is, dude, if somebody's like struggling to walk down the road, go over there and offer them an arm and say, "Hey, man, you need to grab my arm." Like that's fucking half a life.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
If we could master that, bro, we'd be so much better of a society if we just did those basic things.
You're right.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
Man, just to keep on keeping yourselves inspired, keep yourselves motivated, and keep on getting after life. You only get one crack at this thing and one only. That's it. There is no rewind button. So try to go out there and live your best life every day. And I say that because I talked to my mom today, and someone within our family has a terminal disease and they got about 5 to 7 years to live. And I tell you, man, it resonated right here. And I wanted to share that with you, that we just don't know. So I hope everybody has a great night. Tim Brown, thank you.
All righty. Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot, Mark.
All right, man. Good having you on again. Take care. Night.